By now, most persons are feeling the effects of soaring inflation and rapidly rising interest rates. Prices for household items have increased, not to mention finding it difficult getting housing due to rising prices. Everyone is feeling the pinch one way or the other. Although there was a stunning recovery after the pandemic, with the creation of millions of jobs and soaring wages, most persons are starting to worry that these good times will be short-lived. Many financial experts are saying that everything is pointing to a recession. Larry Harris, former chief economist of the SEC, says a recession is most likely. So how should you prepare for the next recession? Some experts say there's no way you can stop the soaring inflation without a recession. A recession, by definition, is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced. This means many people losing their jobs, which then results in people struggling, many worrying, thinking about where their next meal will come from, and others becoming homeless since they can't afford to pay their mortgages. We all remember the horrible times during the 2008 recession that was felt around the world. Many people enjoyed their lives before the recession, but when the recession hit, millions of people got knocking on their doors, and there were real estate brokers with police ready to evict them from their homes since they could not pay their mortgages. Lots of homes were foreclosed due to loan defaults. Many had to make tough decisions like moving back in with their parents despite having families of their own. And others had to get ordinary jobs in construction to be able to put bread on their table. The 2008 recession is one of those recessions to remember. One of the reasons why we currently see rising interest rates is because it's another way to tame inflation, but this has a diverse consequence. Many people start defaulting on their loans because of high interest rates and hence lose their homes. Most people react differently during a recession. This may mean eating out less often, replacing things like clothing, etc. less frequently, traveling less, and opting to cook at home than dining out. Some may even opt to go back in with their parents to try to stretch the dollar. While the impact of the looming recession will be felt broadly, every household will experience such a pullback to a different degree, depending on their income, savings, and financial standing. So in this video, we're going to learn ways you can prepare for the next recession. Before we jump into these, please take a second and smash the like button. It will help a lot. With that out of the way, here are 6 ways you can prepare yourself for the next recession. 1. Streamline your spending. If you knew a thief was coming to break into your house, you'll be well prepared. You'll make sure your door is locked and put other security measures to protect yourself and your loved ones. So knowing that there's a looming recession, it's best to prepare well and not be taken by surprise. During a recession, you should expect to cut back. The sooner you start to do it, the better it will be during an actual recession. This may mean cutting a few expenses now that you just want and really don't need, such as streaming services that you signed up for during the pandemic, and also cut out spending much on eating out and resort to cooking. A good habit that you can start now is writing a list of things required at home, then separate the needs from the wants. This will help you streamline your spending and stretch your dollar. 2. Build reserves for rainy days. Recession or not, you should think about having an emergency fund. The funds you have saved will help you avoid borrowing money to cover unexpected costs like repairs, medical treatment, or job loss. We all know that emergencies are just unexpected, such as being fired from the job you have been working at for years. Most people are unprepared for such emergencies. If you don't have an emergency fund, start one today. It's recommended to have around 6 months worth of expenses, including the amounts you spend on necessary items like rent, utilities, and groceries. This amount may seem very high, but you can start by making small contributions over time. Saving this emergency fund in a liquid account is a good move, since it gives you the ability to access that money whenever you need it. If your salary can't stretch much, You can even resort to starting a side hustle you can do after your 9-to-5 job to earn an extra dollar. So you can funnel this extra cash to your emergency fund. 3. Avoid variable interest rates. Any person with a credit card with a variable annual interest rate will see their interest charges jump with each decision by the Federal Reserve. This is another way the Federal Reserve is tackling the high inflation. And also, homeowners who have adjustable rate mortgages or home equity lines of credit will also be affected. So what should be done? This is a particularly good time to identify the loans you have outstanding and see if refinancing makes sense. So if any opportunity arises to refinance into a fixed rate, do it before rates rise even further. 4. Stash up extra cash in stocks and bonds. The best way to shield yourself from soaring inflation and high interest rates is by buying stocks. There will always be ups and downs in the stock market, but over the long term, the stock market always wins. So if you have some extra cash, stashing some in stocks will pay off in the long run. The stock market is a long-term game. Owning stocks is better than stashing up money in a savings account. It's like sowing a mustard seed. Other inflation-protected assets backed by the federal government are bonds. These can yield a good annual return, which is nearly risk-free. Although there are purchase limits, buying some bonds is also better than stashing money away in a savings account. 5. Pay off any high-interest debt. For any person, the last thing you want to deal with during a recession is high debt weighing you down. The first thing you need to deal with is credit card debt. During high inflation, the Federal Reserve increases interest rates to fight soaring inflation. In other words, your credit card interest could go up even higher, causing you to pay hundreds in interest. Once you pay off your debt, you'll have room in your budget to be able to put towards other things, like growing your emergency fund and making up for rising consumer prices, or even stashing up money in stocks and bonds. Number 6, up your game. During recessions, there is lots of unemployment. Even large corporations can come under financial pressure, leading them to look for ways to cut costs. All too often, that means layoffs. Some people won't take being laid off too easily. It is very difficult losing your job and not knowing where your next check will come from. Usually, the first people that are laid off are those that are not performing well and the less qualified. So to stand a chance to remain with a job, it is critical preparing your career for the next downturn. Right now is a good time to network and maintain good connections with other people in your field. Usually, persons with higher education suffer lower rates of unemployment. So if you've been thinking about going back to school, now may be the best time to do so. Adding a new skill could give you an advantage in the future. But before you jump on pursuing higher education, weigh the cons and the pros of how you will be financing your degree. Weigh in if you will be foregoing your current salary or paying for your degree with a student loan. You need to weigh in and make an informed decision. And also, it is very important to choose your industry very carefully. No job is completely fireproofed from a recession, but certain industries are safer from layoffs. So it is a good idea to up your game by investing yourself. This means getting an extra skill to set yourself apart from your competitors. So there you have it, 6 ways to prepare yourself for the next recession. If you got any value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and also smash the like button. Until next time, God bless. Also consider watching our other videos on my left.